And we are all set. So, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today for an introduction to Microsoft Teams. My name is Tiffany Thompson, and I'm a Microsoft Learning Consultant for the DC, Virginia, Maryland area. I am also a Microsoft Master Trainer, as well as an online course facilitator and MIE expert. I have been assigned to your university, and I'm very excited about it. I've been working with you all for a few months now, but I am happy to be able to deliver these workshops over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully you join not just this one, but the coming workshops in the future. I am joined today by Nick Christine, who is the education lead for the Microsoft stores. He is also a Microsoft Master Trainer, and I'm so happy that I have him here to help me moderate this session. During the session, at any time, please feel free to post your questions in the chat. If it's not a burning question, and Nick will gladly answer. If it's something that I may need to demo, Nick will let me know. We're hoping to make this a very productive and efficient session, considering we only have about 50 minutes. But thank you in advance for being attentive and engaged, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along with me very easily. So for our agenda for today, we're going to just talk very briefly about Microsoft Teams and what it is and what it does. And then we'll look at team structure and navigation, as well as how to participate in a team, how to create a team. And then I'll give you some of my favorite tips and tricks. And Nick might share, probably will share some of his tips and tricks as well. And then we'll follow it up with Q&A. So let's dive right in. So Microsoft Teams is a digital hub. It is Microsoft's uh, workplace, or I should say, hub for teamwork and getting things done. Teams is a collection of people, of content, and tools that surround a particular project or even outcomes within an organization. In this case, your team's environment would be a collection of people, content, and tools surrounding projects or outcomes at your university, so at GWU. Teams is meant to be a productive software or productive tool that can be used across organizations and across departments. So last week we looked at Microsoft Teams from a faculty perspective and how faculty can use Teams to create class learning environments, whether it's for online, totally online, face to face, or even hybrid learning environments. Whereas this week, we're looking at how to use Teams for bringing together staff members and possibly students across the university. With Microsoft Teams, you're able to access and use third-party applications. So you can bring in tools like Nearpod and Flipgrid and Buncee. Now, mind you, all of these are either turned on or enabled through your university's IT department. So there are many different third-party apps that can be utilized in the Teams environment, and your IT department can tell you what apps are going to be accessible to you as a GWU staff member or student. Within Teams, you can have conversations, you can share files, you can work collaboratively and co-edit and co-author. You can have one-to-one or one-to-many conversations or chats before you even have a meeting or even after you have a meeting. You can organize your notes in OneNote notebook and even set up projects and tools such as Planner. So with Teams, a team is really designed to bring together a group of people who typically work closely together to get things done. They can be as rich and dynamic as you need them based on the project or the work that you're working on. It is an ongoing space for you to use to reflect, to create, to have conversations, to share files. And then what's nice about Teams is that you can spread out your content across what we call channels and tabs. Now, your channels in a team are those dedicated sections or areas within a team to keep your conversations and files organized by either a specific topic, a specific discipline, or a specific project. It's really whatever works for your team. And then Your tabs are those highlighted tools or resources or files that you want to call out and bring attention to during the project. So for example, maybe at the beginning of the project, you have your team meeting notes and agenda pulled into a tab and have it highlighted here. But later on down the road, you can remove it and it'll still live in the file section, but you will remove it from your tab so that you don't need your staff members or colleagues to access it at that particular moment or during that time or space in the team. So teams are made up of channels and tabs. Your team is your overall group, whatever you want to name it. And then the channels are those dedicated sections around that group project. And then the tabs, again, are those highlighted tools or documents that you want your team members to see and have access to at different points during your project. Three different roles. You have owners, members, and guests. Your owners are the individuals in the team who actually created the team. So for example, let's say Nick and I work on a team together and we both work in the bookstore and I'm the bookstore manager and I created a team. I would be the owner of the team. And as such, I'm responsible for all of the settings, including membership and invitations that are sent out to the team members. So as the team owner, when I create the team, I would choose who I want to be a part of my team and assign roles accordingly. The second role in a team are the members. The members are anyone else that's in the team or anyone that has been invited to join and participate in the team. You have limited permissions usually, depending on how the owner or what permissions the owner has granted, but you are still a member and expected to collaborate and participate in the team. And then you have guests. The guests would be anyone else outside of the GWU network. So, for example, if Tyler or Rebecca created a team and invited Nick and myself to the team, because we do not have an @gwu.edu email address, we would be considered guests. And guests have very limited permissions. A GWU email address is not required, but just note that it's limited permissions. In many institutions, guests or adding external guests is not allowed or is not turned on right away. So just be aware that if you are creating a team and you try to invite someone else to the team and you get an error, it's because that external sharing or that guest access has not been turned on. There are many different uses for Microsoft Teams across the university. You can have teams for department chairs. IT departments typically have a team for themselves. Records and registration can have teams. Clubs, fraternities, and sororities can have teams. So students can create teams and have teams as well. So if you want to work with others in your organization within GWU, you could create a team just for your group. So let's go into a live demo of what Teams actually looks like. So when I first log into Office 365, and you can access Office 365 from the GWU homepage, or you can just type in portal.office.com and it'll take you directly to your Office 365 landing page. As you can see here, I see all of my apps on the left-hand side. At the very top, I have something called an app launcher. We, as trainers, affectionately call it the waffle. And if you click it, you can also see all of your apps that you have access to by clicking the All Apps button, and you will see them listed here in alphabetical order. For our training today, of course, we'll be using Microsoft Teams. When you click Teams, Teams will actually open directly in your browser. And either Nick or myself, before the end of the session, we will put a link in the chat if you would like to download the desktop version of the Teams application. As you can see, I'm using Teams in the browser here. But here at the bottom, I also have my desktop Teams open, and I'm getting those notifications, or my application is illuminating, letting me know that there are notifications that is happening in the current meeting that I'm a part of or in my Teams environment. I'm going to take you through the basic structure and give you some background information on each of the teams or the buttons in the navigation, as well as looking at some of the actual live channels in Teams. And then I'll stop and pause for questions, and then we'll move on. So first, now that my Teams environment is open, and actually I'll close this one here. I don't really need this. Come on, it's gonna need some. Okay, I don't know why it's acting weird for me, but it's all right. So my app launcher is here at the top in the left-hand corner. If I wanted to go back to Office 365, I can click this icon or button to go back to the Office 365 homepage, which will take me there, or I can click to open any other application that I want to use. At the very top, under my app launcher, I have my activity feed. Your activity feed is going to show you one-to-one or one-to-few conversations. So for example, we'll show you notifications that are based on your one-to-one, one-to-few, or even your team's activity. So let's say someone tagged me or mentioned me in a team, I would get a notification here. If I'm in a class and my professor sends a message, or there's a new assignment posted, or she or he posts an announcement, I will see those notifications here in my activity feed. I can filter my activity feed by unread messages, by @mentions. So if someone mentions me or uses my name, if someone replies to a post that I made, if someone reacts to my post. So for example, if they give my message a thumbs up or a heart or smiley face, I will see those reactions here. And then I can also see messages or notifications based on if I have a missed call in Teams or voicemail, or if any apps have made any changes to my Teams environment. For me, I tend to filter my messages by @mentions, so that if someone directly tags me or needs me to respond and they mention my name, I want to look at those notifications immediately. But you can also just see all of your activity feed here in this list. So I'm in the George Washington University account, so you won't see much here. But if I go to my own Teams application and go to my activity feed, I can see that I have a ton of notifications here. So I can see that someone reacted to my post. Siobhan actually replied to my post. If I go here, there's more reactions, more replies. Here, someone tagged my entire or @mentioned my entire team. So that means they wanted everyone in the team to see this notification. So I can see that here. And then if I wanted to filter by only those messages that mention my name, then I can see those messages here. So here I can see that Christy mentioned me. If I click there, I can see my name is illuminated. It says Tiffany. If I go here to Heather, I can see that Heather mentioned my name here. It's illuminated yellow to let me know that it's unread, and then I can see my name in red. Under your activity feed is your chat. Now your chat is your one-to-one or one-to-few conversations. So remember, a team is a group or collection of people, content, and resources or files. And in a team, you can have conversations and have chats, but it's for everyone that's on your team or everyone that's a part of your group. Whereas here, this is only for one-to-one or one-to-few. So if I wanted to send a message to Nick, just Nick, then I would type a message, type his name here and search for it, or I could type a message for Rebecca, and then I can say, oh, hi, hope all is well. Did you see my last email? And this is for just Rebecca. Now, I can also click this people icon here and add other individuals to this conversation, and then it will become what we call one-to-few. So now it's Rebecca and maybe another person in this particular conversation. So let's say Tyler. Now I've added Tyler, and I can see that Tyler and Rebecca are here, and my original conversation with just Rebecca is here as well. And so it sort of delineates between the two. And now I can send a message to both Tyler at the same time. If I wanted to call them and have them join a meeting or a video conference call, I could do that by using any of these two icons. Let's say that they're like, hey, you know what? I'm free right now. Let's go ahead and chat. And because I really think it would be better if we talk by phone instead of typing, then we could do that. Optionally, if I wanted to remove Rebecca or Tyler from this conversation, I could easily do that as well. And then I could leave the conversation myself, and then Tyler and Rebecca would be the only two individuals in the conversation, or I could add more people. You also notice that I have a little pencil icon next to Tyler and Rebecca's name. And let's say I wanted to edit this group so that I can easily recognize it as the O365, oops, O365 training team. So now I know that at a quick glance, if I need to send a message to Rebecca and Tyler, this is the Office 365 training team, and I can quickly shoot them a message and not have to look through my entire list. This is really helpful when you start to have those one-to-one or one-to-few conversations with lots of people, and you want to quickly be able to find those conversations at a glance. I can also click here and I'll see my files. But if I want to drop a file into this conversation, it will automatically appear in the file section. So I don't have any yet because I haven't shared any files, but I can certainly click share, find a file from my OneDrive, or upload it from my computer. And so let's say here's a file. Oh, maybe I don't have any in there. Let's do Teams. And I don't have any in there. Let's do OneDrive and Office. There we go. So I can share this file with them, this Outlook tip sheet. And now that file is going to appear here. And then if I go to my chat, it'll also appear in my chat, and it'll show that I shared a file with them. So we looked at activity feed, chat. Now we're going to look at our Teams environment. And actually, we're going to come back to this because this is where we need to land for the rest of the session. So we're going to skip our Teams list and go to assignments. So our assignments tab really won't be relevant if you're not a faculty member, but just for informational purposes, particularly if there are students on the call, when your instructor or your professor creates an assignment in Teams, your assignments will live here or in the Teams environment. In addition, if they, this is where they would go to create an assignment. Your calls will let you quickly call anyone in your organization through Teams. So this is not voice call. I mean, not telephony, but this is through Teams. So if I wanted to call James or Martha, I could call them directly through Teams. My file section will show me any files that are a part of any team or in any team that I'm a part of. So I can see here that this Teams feature and this sample Word document are a part of this team called Microsoft Teams Pilot. I can see that there's some other files here in the biology class, and then there's one that says just my OneDrive. So I could find even my files. So I like that when I'm in Teams, I don't have to always go back to the Office 365 page, click on OneDrive and search for my files there to be able to access them or create new documents or work with the ones I have. In Teams, I can actually click on any of these folders or files and access them directly in Teams. I could also create a new file from scratch right here inside of my Teams environment, and it will sync automatically with my personal OneDrive because I'm in OneDrive. If I have a Box account, I can give access to Teams so that I can, or grant access to Teams so that I can access my files that I have in Box. I could also link my Google Drive. So if I wanted to have access, which I do, access to my Google Drive files, if I have a Google Drive account, I can log in and give Teams access to it. Not Teams, but connect it with Teams so that I can navigate and use these files at any time that I needed to while I'm working inside of Teams. So we're going to go back to our Teams list, but before I dive into participating in a team and then creating a team, Are there any burning questions that maybe I need to show again, or Nick hasn't answered? Nick, are there any questions in the chat that maybe I need to address?
I think the only thing is everybody wants a recording from today's training. So I told them that you would share that out with them. And we also had one question around the version of Office. If you're using Office 365, you'll have Office 2019 is your version.
Mm-hmm.
And I also put some support documentation on how to use the most up-to-date version of Office 2019 in the chat.
Right. Well, thank you, Nick. All right. Okay, so I am actually going to walk you through creating a team. Well, actually, I'm going to create a team first and invite you to participate. And then I'll walk you through creating your own team, because I want you to participate in the team first so that you can get the full experience as a participant or a member before you become an owner. So first, at the bottom of my teams list here, I'm going to click join or create a team. And then this purple button here, I'm going to click create a team. Now, there are 4 types of teams that you can create. For the purposes of today, we're going to create another team, but I want to explain to you what each of these are. So a class team is meant to be used with instructors and students. So if you're teaching a course and you have students that are participating in your course, you're providing them with assignments, grades, and learning activities, then you would want to create a class team and invite those students into the class team. With a class team, you get access to a OneNote notebook and to the assignments feature where you can add assignments into the team. If it's not a class team, you can't add assignments, okay? Then you have a PLC team. This is meant to be used for instructor to instructor or educator to educator relationships. So this would be if I was a dean and I wanted to work with other deans on developing a new online course, or maybe we are talking about how to go forward with quality matters review or something like that, then I would want to create a PLC team to work on professional learning with my other instructor colleagues. A staff team is meant to be used for staff leader to staff member. So think, let's say a provost and all of the deans under the provost, or let's say the manager of the financial aid department and all of the financial aid specialists under her or him. So a staff team is meant to be used when you are supervising a group of individuals, because it comes provisioned with what we call a staff notebook, where you and your staff members can work together and share resources, and you can evaluate them on their performance and share information with them either individually or as a group. Then you have what's called an other team. An other team would be anything else. So if you are just, if you're a staff member and you're working with your colleagues and everyone is equal, and you're not really supervising them in a managerial sort of aspect, then you will want to create this team. If you run a club, if you're running a study group, if you are in charge of the bookstore, if you are in charge of like sororities and fraternities or advisory councils, things like that. This is the type of team that you would create. Okay, so I'm going to create this team, and I'm going to call this teams practice. Well, let's call it learn teams with me. And I could optionally enter description. So this team is for anyone at GW who has participated in Teams training with MLC Tiffany Thompson. You'll notice that my privacy is by default set to private. That means that I am the only one who can add members or give members access to my team. If I make it public, that means anyone across GWU can join my organization. Because this is a training team, I'm going to change it to public so that anyone can search for it and become a member if they want to participate. Optionally, I can change it back to private. just note that once you choose your setting, that's it. So if you choose public, then it's public, okay? I can also create a team from an existing template. And that means if I already have a team, so I have one here, but if I like the way this one is set up and I like all of the channels and sort of the way my tabs are set, I can create a team from that team as sort of a template just to give me an outline. I can choose to add the same members of the team or not, but if I like the way it's set up, then this is the fastest way to do it. So I'm going to click next. And now I can start adding members, okay? But I'm going to show you how to quickly add members. If I do it this way, I have to physically type in every single person that I want to be added to my team. This could take a long time if you have 50, 75 or more people, or just if you're trying to save time. I'm going to close this and I'm going to show you how you can join my team, or how you can do the same thing when you create your team, how you can invite individuals to join. So I'm going to click my three dots here. This is my contextual menu. And then I'm going to click the button that says Manage Team. Here is where I can see all of the members, which is just Rebecca right now. I can see any pending requests. So if anyone has tried to join my team, I can grant them access or deny them. I can see any channels that I've created, and I haven't created any yet because this is a brand new team. And then I have an option for settings where I can change my team picture to any picture that I want. It's just a little icon, so it changed my team picture there. You can also personalize that. So if you have a logo or a team, a picture file, you can choose any picture file that you want by clicking upload. I can also change my member permissions. So right now it says that all of my members can create channels, can create private channels, can delete channels. So I'm going to remove some of this because as a team owner, if I set my team a certain way, I don't want individuals to come in and to, create channels or delete channels that I've created, to delete apps or tabs. So I'm going to remove some of this, and I can always enable those settings again later. I can also disable the option for members to delete their messages. This is really useful if you have to keep track of conversations or files or things like that for recording purposes, and you don't want people to delete things that they've posted. Editing them might be fine, but if you need to keep track, you may want to option of them deleting their messages. I can also see that I can change guest permissions. So right now it looks like guest permissions are not turned on. So I can't even make any changes to guest permissions. Under @ mentions, this allows anyone in the team to tag or @ mention someone to get their attention. I normally leave this on because it's really important for communication purposes when you're trying to get a project finished or get a question answered, and you can tag the person so they'll be notified in their activity feed when they have a new message. But this is where I want to be. I want to be in this section here that says team code. So when I click generate, it's going to give me a code, and I'm actually going to make it full screen in a second so that you will be able to join my team. So you're going to need either a piece of paper or pen to write it down, or I'm going to show you full screen, but I want you to know where to put it. So you're going to take this code. You're going to, in your team's environment, click the button that says join or create team. And where it says join a team with a code, you're going to type it in and then click join team. And then you'll automatically be a member of my team that says learn teams with me. Okay. So once you click Office 365, click Teams, and the window's open, click the Teams app or button on the left-hand side. At the bottom, click Join or Create Team, and then you're going to type the code, okay? So let me go back to my team.
Tiffany, I also put it in the chat.
Thank you, Nick. And just in case, for those of you who like to see large characters, there's the code for you. You'll notice that the directions are also at the bottom. So this is really nice if you are working in a virtual meeting or you're having a video conference and you're like, you know what, guys, I'm just going to create a team for it really quickly so that we'll have a place to discuss and share all of our files. Let me do it now. And then you can generate that code and tell people to join. And the directions are here at the bottom. It says click join or create a team, and then look for join a team with a code. So Nick said that he put it in the chat. So I'm going to exit full screen and go back to my members section. And I can see already that this number is increasing. So far, 10 individuals are now in my team. And as you continue to join, those numbers will increase. At any time, I can change your role. So right now, everyone is a member. And remember, there are only 3 roles. You can be a member, an owner, or a guest. If I give you owner rights, that means that you could delete my team. You could delete channels, delete files. So you just want to be really careful about who you select to be a co-owner of a team with you. I do suggest always that you have a co-owner as a best practice, because if you leave, you don't want to have the members of your team having to go to the Office 365 or IT department and try to get them to locate the name of your team and to assign a new owner. Like it's just the best practice to go ahead and assign someone as the owner of that team. So I'm going to make Rebecca a co-owner of this team. All I did was click the drop down arrow and changed her from a member to an owner. So now I can start building out my team. So the first thing I'm going to do is create some channels. So the first one, so first you're going to click your 3 dots here to give you your contextual menu. We already looked at manage team. So now we're going to click add channel. So I'm going to call this one resources. I want to be sure that I check the box that says automatically show in everyone's list so that as soon as I create it, it will appear for you. So I'm going to create a few channels. So one is called resources. The other one I'll call burning questions. And then I'm going to add another channel. I'll add one more called playground. So when I ask you to do things and to practice, you can practice in the playground. So now I have 3 channels, and I can start to build out my team and add information to the team. So first, I'm going to go to general, and I'm going to make an announcement or make a post. So to start a new conversation, you just click new conversation, and then you can start typing. Now, when you do it this way, you'll notice that the text is really small, and this might get lost in a sea of other posts. So if I click my little arrow, my A plus here, or my A here, I can add a subject, and I can also change this from a conversation to an announcement to get this really big headline so that individuals can really see it. So I might say, welcome to our team. I can change the color of the back of that headline. I can add an image if I wanted to really call attention to it. There's one called a bullhorn. And then I can say, hi, everyone. Welcome to our team. Please feel free to look around and practice learning with me. And now I'm going to click this send button, and now everyone that's a part of the team will be notified that there's a new message. And you can optionally go here to the top right hand corner. You'll see some icons for reactions. You can give it a thumbs up, a heart, a smiley face. So I see that one person has already given it a thumbs up. And you can also reply. So you can say, you know, welcome, thank you for having me. I have a burning question. Or you can just give me a smiley face. I want you guys to practice replying to this conversation. So click the reply button, and then you will see that you can just start typing. You can add an emoji. You can add a GIF or a sticker. Thanks, Ravina. So I can see that Ravina has posted a message. Thanks, Jody. Glad that you can be here as well. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Megan. So this is a way to share information really quickly. Now, I can also tag and add mention. So to add mention someone, you click the add mention key. The add key, and then I can say, I can add mention Jody, and Jody will receive a notification in her activity feed. A little red circle will appear. I can say, thanks for joining me. All right. And now Jody will receive that activity feed. So anyone that you add mention, they will see it here in the list, and they'll also see it in their activity feed. So now I'm going to show you just some really quick tips and tricks, and then I'll let you practice building out your own team. So the first thing I'm going to do, under my resources channel, I'm going to click my three dots here, and I'm going to click manage channel. When I click manage channel, this will let me turn on channel moderation that will only let me post in the resources channel. This is really useful if you want to keep your information organized, and sometimes you just want to post, let's say you're the lead manager or you're the project lead, and you just want to be able to post resources without an interruption in your flow of announcements or posts. So I like that I can do that, because if I want to post resources and I want them organized a certain way, I don't want random individuals or random posts to interfere with that. So for example, I'm going to go back to my resources channel and then click new conversation. And let's say I want to organize this by meetings resources. So like Teams meetings. I might say find resources below for participating Teams meeting. Now I can create another conversation where I want to maybe have resources for files. So files and Teams. So find resources below for adding and using files in Teams. Okay, so what this does, this helps me to keep my post organized so that others can't just come in and start a new conversation in between my headings here. And now you can reply, you can give it a thumbs up, but because I turned on channel moderation, you can't create a new post. I can also turn it off where you can't even reply. So if I uncheck this box, now you can't reply to the channel messages. The only thing you can do is actually give it a thumbs up or a smiley face or react to it. So I think there were a few questions that maybe had popped up. So before I continue, are there any burning questions or things I need to show again?
I think we're good, Tiff.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to the playground channel because I want you to have some time. I'll give you 3 minutes to sort of practice and play around with some of these things that I'm going to show you, these next tips and tricks. So the first thing we're going to do is in our search bar at the top, this is your command bar, and there are two types of commands. You can use a command for apps to pull in applications into a channel or into a post, or you can use the command bar to actually use a particular feature in Teams. So we're going to practice praise. That's my favorite one, and you can use any of these actually. So you can try images or praise or news, but we're going to try praise. And praise allows you to give praise or send praise to people on your team. This helps build team community and camaraderie, right? So let's say I wanted to praise one of my team members for being optimistic, even though I know that a particular training didn't go well. Or maybe someone had a kind heart and sent me flowers when I broke my leg. Okay, I can use any of these badges to send them a message. So I can say thank you, or actually, let's go back. Let's do team player. And I can send a message to Rebecca, and I might say, thank you, Rebecca, for being a team player during our last session. You were very helpful to everyone on the team. Now I need to show who I'm going to send it to, which is Rebecca. I can click a preview, which shows me what it looks like. And now I can click send. And so Rebecca will receive this and everyone else will see it as well. So I can see that Eric sent us a GIF here. I love unicorns. Thank you for that. That brightened my day. Oh, Megan sent praise, an awesome praise to Feroz. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You're awesome just because. Oh, I'll give that a heart. That's so sweet. And so you can use other apps in here as well. So I use praise, but let's say you want someone to meet you for lunch. So I might say, okay, meet me at Whole Foods. Now, I don't know where the closest Whole Foods in DC is, but let's see if, let's do Washington, DC. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to use this location first. Okay, so now I can search for, let's see if it'll bring the closest Whole Foods for me. So there's one on P Street, H Street. There's one on 40th. Let's do H Street Southeast. Okay, so I might say, I'm going to copy this. So now I can copy it, or I can get directions or go to the website, but I'm going to copy it. And I can start a new conversation here at the bottom. It says, meet for lunch. And I can, oh, did I not copy? Come on. Why is this giving me, there we go. All right, let's see. Why is it giving me trouble? Let's just get direct. Oh no, I clicked the wrong thing. Oops. Okay, I don't know why it's giving me trouble. I don't know why it's giving me so much trouble. Copy, copy. Okay, all right, I'm over it. If anyone else wants to try it and practice, see if you'll have better luck than me. Let's try George Washington University, GW. There we go. Oops. All right, let's try that again. Copy. Paste. Okay. All right. I don't know why it's giving me trouble today, but you can copy it. You can also get the directions from Bing if you need to get those directions, and then you can copy and paste them as well into your team, and then click send. All right. You can also start a quick poll. So in your conversation editor, let's say we are trying to decide on our staff retreat for fall 2020. Let's decide on the perfect location for our upcoming staff retreat. COVID safe, though. Share your thoughts below or take the poll. All right, so I'm going to send this message first to everyone, and then I'm going to add a poll. So in your toolbar here at the bottom of your conversation editor, there are many different items. So we talked about GIFs, and you guys added some stickers. But if you scroll all the way to the right-hand side, you'll have an option that says Forms. Forms will allow me to add a quick poll question for everyone to complete. So I can give options. So I might say, where should we have our retreat? GWU, the Hilton, Alexandria, the Smithsonian, public ballroom, or a ski resort. I don't know. I can allow multiple answers, and then I can click save. It will give me a preview of what it looks like. And now I can click send. And now each of you will be able to complete this poll. So I'm going to ask you to complete the poll for me. And what you'll notice is that you have the option for the poll here, and directly under it is going to be your results. So now anyone, not just me as the owner, you all can see the results of the poll as they're submitted. So we can see one person has chosen the Smithsonian Public Ballroom. I think I'm going to choose a ski resort. Man, do I want to do skiing? Maybe. Okay, I'll do skiing. All right, so as the poll is updating, you'll see that it's updating in real time as those responses are coming in. And that's a nice way to quickly get a pulse on your team, whether it's for something simple like, lunch, or just something not related to a project, or if it's project related and you need to get feedback really quickly, instead of using an email or sending an email, you could certainly send a poll. All right, so right now we're sort of tied for the Smithsonian Public Ballroom and the ski resort. I can also add files to my team. So I can upload or pull in resources that maybe I have on my computer. So here's a sample syllabus. I can pull in PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, anything that I on for have access. Just know that everyone will have access to these files to update and edit or manipulate. But I can also create a file from scratch. So I'm actually going to create a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to call it Getting to Know You, GWU. And I'm going to, as soon as it opens, if everyone goes to the file section, you should be able to see that file there and edit it with me. So I'm going to give you some direction here, just so that you can play around with it. And I'm going to say, all about you. And I'm going to say, add a new slide, add your name, role, and one image that represents you. Okay, and this is something that's really easy and quick and nice to do if you have to create a document and you need others to co-author or co-edit. You don't have to send it in an email back and forth and wait for them to respond and provide feedback or give updates. Everyone can see who's working at the same time. So if I click here, right now I can see that there's only one person in. So Megan Foster is on slide 1. And as other individuals start to add or come into this document, I'll be able to see them as well. So remember, I said just add a new slide, and then add your name, your role, and an image that represents you. And this is something that you can work on over the course of our session, but I just wanted you to see how easy it is to actually co-edit and co-author a document inside of Teams. We're all in the same document. I'm close to Baltimore, so I actually live near Baltimore Washington Airport. You all are in DC. Nick is in somewhere. North Carolina or somewhere. So we can be in totally different places, different time zones, and work on this document together. And also have a conversation, a live conversation or a real meeting or a live meeting like we're doing right now. All right. And at any time, if I wanted to have a conversation around this document, I could certainly do that. So if I click this conversation button, I can start a conversation that is going to live in Teams around this document. So I can say, hi all, I think we should reword slide 1. It will show this file here in the conversation, as well as my post or my conversation around it, and then any conversation the rest of us have decided to have. Even if I close out of that file and I go back to the post tab, I can see the conversation that was started here, and others can see it and reply to it as well. I'm going to see if there are any burning questions before I leave you with like 5 of my top tips and tricks. Are there any burning questions?
We're all good.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to make you aware of or show you is the contextual menu in Teams. So on each team name, as well as the channels, you can find or access other tools related to that particular channel or team. For example, we looked at managing a team and adding a channel, but you can also add members from this screen or from this menu. You can leave the team if you wanted to leave the team and no longer be a member. I have the option as the owner to edit the team. You do not. I could get a link to the team. So if I am saying, hey, Nick, you should join this team. It is so great. I can get a link to it and copy that and send that in a chat message to Nick or to anyone. And then they can click it and it will open up the Teams environment for them and let them join. If I was finished with this project and I wanted to delete the team, I could certainly do that as well. You can also ask your IT person, your IT director or administrator to archive the team automatically for you so that let's say after 6 months, it'll auto archive and it'll no longer show in your team's list. On your team channel, when you click the 3 ellipses, you'll see the manage channel button, which I already showed you, where you can moderate the channel so that others can't post. You can also get an email address to this particular channel. This is really useful if you have that one team member who just does not log into their computer or log into Teams as much as you like. And you're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to start sending them messages or emails to their Outlook, but also send it to the team so that it shows up or that conversation shows up in Teams. So if I get an email address to the channel, I can copy that. And in Outlook, I might start sending messages. So if I know that maybe Nick isn't a part of the or maybe Nick is just, he's not interested in logging into Teams every single day. I might say, okay, well, here's some updates from the last meeting. And I'm going to CC that channel email address because that's where I want the message to go. And now I can start giving feedback about what happened at the last meeting. So first, updated the budget. 2, discussed the fall retreat. And then 3, discussed the RFP for training. Now, when I send that email, it not only went to Nick, who's not a part of the team, but he needed to know the information since he is the trainer, right? It also, where did it go? Let's see, let's delete some of this stuff out. Come on, no, I don't want to pin it. Where are we here? There we go. So now if I go back to my general, There is that email that went out. You can tell that it's an email because it says via email. See it there? And then it has all of the information that was posted. So now anyone can see this message. So even though I sent it as an email, I also sent it to the channel as well. So that's a nice feature to have. And then two more before we go. You can pin any channel. So let's say there is a channel for questions or help, or one that's really important and you want to be sure that you check it all the time. You can pin that channel to the top of your team's list so that you always have access to it. I do that in my personal team's account because I'm a member of so many teams, and there are some that I'm like, okay, I know they're going to get lost, so I need to have access to this channel at all times. So you can pin channels if you needed to pin them. Some other things that you can do before we go, we looked at using apps inside the command bar, but if you use your backslash, you can bring up features to use within Teams. My favorites, two favorites are help. So /help, it will take you to the help page in Teams so that if I'm not available or someone from your IT department isn't available and you really need help with, let's say, meeting calls and events or managing conversations, you can get that information. Or you can just search, hey, how do I send a chat? And then it'll tell you what to do. Okay. My other favorite feature is /keys, which will bring up the shortcut keys. So this is really important in higher ed or just in general. You should always be aware of accessibility features so that you can ensure that when you're working with colleagues who have accessibility needs or students because of Section 508, right, that you are able to quickly tell them how to navigate the application using the shortcut keys or using the accessibility keys. So if you type /keys, it will bring up all the shortcut keys for Teams. And then at the bottom, it says shortcuts for all platforms. So if you want to know the shortcuts for Word or PowerPoint, you can find those there as well. All right. So I know that was a lot to try to cover in a short period of time, but I really hope that it was productive and that you found this training useful. Because I created this team, even though it's a sample team, feel free to post questions that you may have or burning questions here, and I'll try to answer them. If it's something specific to GWU, because I'm not a GWU employee, I won't be able to answer it. But if it's anything Teams related, just a general question, feel free to ask. I will go back and post some resources here as well, like videos and PDFs or tip sheets that you can access. So feel free to come back and check it out. Hopefully you'll join us next week for our next session and in the coming weeks where we'll talk about Sway and Forms and Planner. But thank you again for joining me and have a great week.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.